Hello, everyone. Hello, Lale.
Hello there.
Nice to have you for a melty conversation as usual.
I love that we start our conversations before we record or go
Exactly.
live.
Let's go live, but let's talk for 40 minutes and then go live.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
just put a title because that was the energy that I'm exploring at the moment and it's creating with everything. And I've been recently looking at everything that we can engage with
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
And I know that you also love exploring. So I wonder what we can explore together today.
Yeah. It's interesting. Before we went live, we were just chatting about me being in Australia. And Amel and I, over the years, we've known each other for a while now. Like,
Yeah.
one of the things that we love to talk about is the earth and different ways we can engage with the earth. We can invite more of the earth in our lives. We can be a greater contribution to the earth. And how this whole conversation of, really exploring how much things have changed. Like, for me, if you listen to the news, there's a lot of stuff going on all
Mm.
around the world. But if you actually take all of that mm, nonsense out of the way, the earth has changed so much. And the way that we can actually receive from the earth has changed. Like, our receiving, if we allow, can be so different to actually receive the way we were meant to receive. Like, if you look at kids, the way they don't walk on top of the earth. They walk on their tippy toes. They walk with the earth. It's this total engagement. Their bodies are happy. And, you know, that to me is just so much more available now with us old folks. And like, just being here, and I was telling you about Uluru and going to the Blue Mountains, like, melting that you have something that's been here for 650 million years. And it doesn't even have to be that. I could just walk on grass or go into any place, there's any nature, and my head stops. It's just like melts away. And what's really true stands out anyway. But I would say being with the presence of something that's been around that long, it really shifts priorities.
And I guess it shifts also the relevance because how
Yeah.
much we made this reality so relevant, and also all the projections and all these decisions about the earth, about nature, about what would be nature in 20, 50, 100 years. What if it's not true? What if we started just asking, hey, what do we know? And asking the earth also, hey, can you show me? It's for me now, I know that I'm not buying into anything, any story, or any specific point of view, or any even scientific fact. Like the way that the fact are presented to the world is like, okay, it's a fact maybe, but what do I know about it? What if it's like the whole opposite way around?
Well, I've got to say, I was a science major. I was a biology
Me too,
major.
actually. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Supposed to be a doctor. And
Yeah.
when I look at the earth, and like, if you look at certain moments, like, there was the oil spill in the ocean
Hmm.
many years back, right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Hmm.
They weren't sure what was going to happen. They were like, "Oh, this is going to be a disaster, all this stuff." But yet the ocean ended up showing us that there were some microorganisms that digest oil. And they had come to the surface because of the spill, where normally they're hidden and you don't see them. Now, the earth balances itself, it regenerates itself. And it wasn't until, I don't know, some scientists figured that out, that became like a known thing. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
Exactly.
it was not cognitive for us. And then now they're talking about something else in the ocean that eats plastic. There's some microorganism that eats plastic. And so, like, if we look, even personally for me, when I look at recycling, gosh, in the last many years, like, I was so freakish about the whole recycling thing. And now looking at, what does the earth already know? What does the earth already have in play that we haven't even acknowledged yet, that we don't cognitively know? But what contribution can we be to something that actually is going to work instead of just impelling problems, fights? I mean, we keep talking about wanting to save the earth and make it healthy, but yet we fight. Yet we judge. We create these energies that are not generative at all. And yet, if we were willing to have a different communion with the earth, what else could we come up with that actually is generative for us and the earth?
Yeah. It's beautiful. You said the word balancing, and it's really, for me, what shows up: balancing and adapting. The earth have this capacity to morph, transform, adapt, and balance itself. And what if
Mm.
our body is also really similar? And how much we can use this earth as a teacher? Because how much we can also just take the similarities in our life, how much we can just balance, readjust, and find possibilities, allow ourselves to make different choices, just to create something different that wasn't available.
Mhm.
And I love the pressure. I mean, the transformation of the element, and sometimes we think that it's wrong and it's bad, but it's create something new. Like every natural catastrophe, or like, for example, when we talk about volcanoes or hurricanes or whatever, it sounds like so potent and destructive, but what is hidden behind this destruction that we decided that is a destruction? How much there is this rebirth, this new, this possibility is available.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I grew up in Los Angeles, and so
Mm.
when I would think about an earthquake, especially the
It's
reason I
seismic, yeah.
moved, I moved from Los Angeles because we had this huge earthquake that hit, and for 4 months I couldn't sleep. Now, back then, I had no idea the communion I had with the earth. And so, as those months of, readjusting on the
Mm.
planet, like, it was just so active for me. I was like, my awareness had gone skyrocket, and I did not have the tools to help me there.
Totally.
So I ended up moving to the East Coast because of that earthquake. But that earthquake was really interesting because sometimes the way people are, it does take a natural disaster to for people to wake up, to do something different. Like the kindness in LA that occurred after that was so different than how people functioned on a day-to-day basis there. And even with the fires that just happened in LA, the
Exactly.
same thing, people reunited together. And there used to be a joke. We used to say that back when I was living in LA, it was the 5 year disaster. So it was like 1 year of riots, 1 year earthquake, 1 year flooding, and all of this. And people had t-shirts celebrating that there's been so many disasters, but it really was us, as people. If we're willing to actually have a greater communion with the earth, if we're willing to be kinder with each other, if we're willing to laugh more, the earth doesn't have to balance itself that way. And so much of those disasters were people focused. They were not that it's the earth trying to get back at us. So I really invite, like, what's available now has never existed before. So what is available now that we can actually utilize to create a greater world.
Yeah. Yeah. What is available to create a more conscious world, I would say.
Yeah,
And yeah, what is also available as a resources in us that we never acknowledged before.
yeah, totally.
When we talk about humanity, I mean, being this caring, this nurturing, this kindness that we can have for each other, how much is like it's meant to be something genuine, natural in us. So what would it take to have more of that showing up in the planet?
I have to say, it's kind of funny. I'm in Australia. You are in the UAE. We're
Yeah.
talking about the earth. You have your plants. You're wearing green, and I'm wearing green.
Yeah. And we didn't decide. And even the background was like pre chosen like a long time ago. I was like, okay, cool.
No, but it's funny, but it also is like, how much are we inviting the earth more and more into our lives and that communion, you know? And
Yeah.
and some are not. And what would it take to add more of the earth, instead of hiding and being indoors? Like, what if we did spend a little more time with the earth?
Yeah.
Like, what would that be like? I, you know, I've been to Australia many, many times. This trip was very unique and different for me. And going to Uluru was, I don't even have words for it, but
Mm.
it was so healing. Like, just being there. I ended up going there 4 or 5 times. And each time it was so different. And my request was, hey, Uluru, please, I'm ready. I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to be me. Anything you can contribute. And so much awareness would come up, so many things to change, and so many things to acknowledge that we tend to forget. And sometimes nature's there to remind us we're not terrible, we're not awful, we're these great beings. And sometimes we act stupid, we say
Yeah.
stupid things, we do stupid things, but the core of who we are is this kindness, this
Exactly.
caring, and this desire to contribute. And the more we allow the noise that I was talking about earlier go away, the fight, the you're this, I'm that, all the lies that are there. Really, like, what else is really possible on planet Earth that hasn't ever coexisted before?
Hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because you've been just acknowledging that we're wearing green and everything was around us and contributing, but it's also how much we choose. Are we choosing to engage with that? Are we choosing to put our attention on the earth? I know for myself at the moment, it's really weird. It's only the beginning of April and it's already 39 degrees here. And I was like, oh, and sitting inside with including the outside, including the earth, including the other countries that are like
Yeah,
tickling my word was like, oh wow, it's different for me. I know that I'm not inside. I'm choosing to be inside for a reason or indoor for a specific reason, but I'm still connected to everything around me. And you speaking about it's so beautiful to just receive you receiving Uluru because I've been also in the class online and I was so happy to perceive like to perceive it and receive from it even far. So it's like also all those decisions that we have that you need to travel for people who are like, I want to explore nature but I can't travel at the moment. What if you can travel? Everything is connected, and if you choose it, it's like sinking and just like contributing and melting our world, and it's just so amazing.
yeah.
As you said, what is
It,
available now, it's just
you
amazing.
know, I remember actually I did a event like 2012, I think it was, or 2013.
Mm.
And it really was inviting people to like their homes, like
Yeah,
people would be like, I'm not near a forest, I can't go there or whatever. And I'm just like, look around your room. Do you have a plant?
exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
Um, Chances are, I mean, I was in America, chances are 99% of the time their house is made up of wood, you know?
yeah. So it's
There's
already,
there's m there's metal in the house, like, we are surrounded by elements of the earth everywhere we are,
yeah,
and if we don't separate, it doesn't have to be that we're excluding anything. So tap in, like, for me, when I started traveling in 20 I was always traveling, even for my jobs, and there was something special, when I moved into one particular house, I had these very huge trees that had been around for a very long time. And what I started to do is when I would travel, I would energetically take them with me. I
I'm happy that I'm not the only weirdo. Thank you for
know.
that.
I'm the weirdo, definitely a weirdo. I love every aspect of the earth. And like, like for example, I was in Texas, I was at Dell, I was working with Dell, and I was so stressed. And all I had to do was just for a moment think about the trees,
Yeah,
and
and
my
receive.
body would relax, and everything was different, And I just invite people, like, wherever you are, what can you reach for? Like, just even like your hand, reach for it, bring it to you. Just
Yeah,
as easy as that. Or just as you're even thinking about it, you're already with it, and invite more of that. But it does take action. It does take action for you to stop your monkey mind and actually, put your focus on something generative, like an animal or a tree or something that
yeah,
makes you laugh, kind of like bring you to that space of you instead of the nonsense that's going on around you.
exactly. And even the noise of a city, I mean, could be so nurturing.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I just moved from Japan to Dubai, I was like, it's a big city, there is a lot of noise. And I was like, wow, what would it take to receive those just buildings as if it was the most phenomenal forest? And now I could perceive the cities differently.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what if we just go beyond the noise, beyond people, because we think that if there is too much people, it's crowded, it's this, it's that. But what can you receive if you truly connect with the city? It's just wow. Oh, we could speak hours about that.
You and me, definitely.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to start a podcast or something. Yeah. So, and you have beautiful classes coming up in Dubai, actually. Yummy energies. Uh,
Yes.
with horses, too.
Yes,
Can you
yes,
say
yes,
more about your creations?
yes. I'm actually super excited. The end of April,
Mm-hmm.
the last few days, we're gonna start with a 3-day Right Voice for You class. And then on the weekend, we have a 2-day Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class.
Wow.
And it's interesting. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, like when you have something in your life, you kind of forget the moments you didn't have it in your life, you know? But I
Mm.
was reminiscing that before 2013, I didn't even think about horses. It wasn't even in my awareness. Growing up in California, like I know there's places in California that had horses, but they were nowhere near where I lived. So it wasn't part of my, like, even something in my universe. I think in college once I was on a horse, um, going a trail ride on a mountain. That's it. That
Yeah.
was the extent of it.
Mm.
And since the day I had heard Gary Douglas say, everything I ever learned about business was with a horse. And I was like, I have like, I don't know, at the time, I don't know how many years, more than 20 years I had in business. And I'm like, I've never heard anyone say that before. What does he know about? What do horses know about business? I don't know. Like that was my like curiosity, you know?
Hmm.
And then I went on a horse ride in Costa Rica, and the whole ride was this magical experience with just something that just I felt nurtured me during the whole ride. You know, like this horse was just the sweetest thing. And I was like, wow, I really get what he was talking about. And since then, I've just had horses in my life, you know, and seeing the ways they remind us to be present.
Yeah.
Definitely present. If you're not, they'll kick you off, you know, they'll wonder, what do you know? Is there a dragon coming that they don't know about? Um, but it's just, you know, there is this level of, I've got your back, they'll take care of you, but there's also that be here with me. Like I have a horse in Costa Rica now at Elegar, and every time I take out my phone, because I love videoing her, because I don't get to see her a lot throughout the year, and she'll literally kick her her shoe against the gate to say, "Be present with me." Like, I'm here. You don't need a
Yeah.
camera, you know? It's really cute. But these 2 days are really to invite us to this communion with horses. And what can we be with them? What can we learn from them? And what can they inspire in us? You know, to be more of you, to relax, to be present. We also have this beautiful trust exercise we do.
Yeah.
And
Going down
most
on
people
it.
think, yeah, most people think it's like, okay, for me to trust the horse. Yeah, that's what it is, you know? Trust the horse, blank. Um,
Exactly.
but it's like you trusting you. The horse shows you ways you can trust you. I melt. I melt
Yeah.
facilitating it. I melt being on top of the horse with that exercise. Like that was just like you melt because then you realize all the lies you've been functioning from, you know?
Yeah. And it's phenomenal invitation to have your own back and look at all those places where you think that something happened to you instead of like, oh, am I really having my back here? Am I allowing people to know that I will have my back, whatever it's take, and I will be dictating the way they need to behave with me. I love this class, and I get that this class also open a lot in the leadership way, but in also relationship way. It's interesting because it's there is also all those lies and all those dark spots that we have in relationship that we're not willing to look at, that start just to show up with having the horses around and allowing more presence. Is just wow, just amazing.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because I do facilitate leadership with horses classes as well.
Yeah.
They're a little bit different, you know, but I always love it because it's like, you know, especially leadership. Leadership's part of every single conscious horse, conscious rider class. But what's funny is like having people come who think they're the boss, you know, and they're used to telling everyone what to do, you know, or even someone who shows up with the horses, you know, and then they realize, oh, a 1,500-pound horse, I can't just tell it what to do. I
Yeah.
actually have to engage. I got to interact and allow this be a communication and a guidance, not a force. You try to force a
Exactly.
horse
The
to move,
force. I wish you
ain't
luck.
gonna happen.
Exactly. You're out.
Not happening. Not happening. You know? But what I also love is like I've had people who have, you know, been riding horses for 30 years, jumpers, relaxers, trail riders, whatever. And they're like, wow, I wish I had these tools from day one. Because it's not just about being on top of the horse and riding them. It really is this engagement.
Creating, yeah, and
Yeah,
creating with
creating
the horse.
together. And
Mm.
then you've got others who show up who are scared of horses. You know, maybe they fell down when they were a kid, or, you know, they just have never been around a horse and this big thing, and then they melt. And every single time at the end, they're like, I don't want to leave. I just want to be here with the horses, you know? That was me. That was me. I ended up buying a horse because I was just like, I don't want to say goodbye to the horse anymore. You know, I want
Be owned
to.
by it.
Yes, I do. I do. I want to be owned by. I at this moment, I'm like, what would it take to have 100 or more horses own me? Like, I think they're just fantastic.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. So for people who want to join, you can just like we drop the link somewhere, I guess, under the video. You can just go on Lale's Hancock events and explore. And I know also that Right Voice for You is such a phenomenal transformational like class. It's just beautiful space to find our voice in the word, and not only the voice but what we be to show up to show up to the word and to show up to ourselves. So if you want to say a few words about the class too, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
hearing you talking about those classes. It's just already like so yummy.
well, you know, it's funny because, like, so often most people think of their voice as, okay, the sound of my voice. What am I saying? Which, yes, it's
Mm,
totally part of it, but it's your presence, you know? It's the voice of your body, it's the voice of your life, it's your voice of your business, your voice of your relationship. It's listening to the voice of everything, including the earth and the future. And the moment that we start to be more present and we're willing to show up as us, invite more of your being, it's not all about voice. It's not about talking, but that voice becomes the voice of silence and being able to really engage in a different way. Just look at your smile. When you smile, there's no words,
yeah.
but that smile can melt everything. Your hug, that's the voice of your body. And, you know, we have people who are afraid of being on stage. We have people who have been speakers for years and they come to elevate what they're able to be and do. We have people who come because they want to ask for a raise. We have some people who come because they want to perform. You know, like people come from all walks of life. Like I remember one particular mom, she came because she didn't know how to talk to her kids. She just didn't know. It just wasn't working, you know? And you have teenagers love coming to this class. I love it because,
Yeah.
like, for me, my classes include so many kids and it just makes it so much more fun. But, like, they know they want to have a voice.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's funny because I'm just acknowledging that my three kids just took the class, and I saw them showing up in a very different way. And what I love about this class is that it's revealing the essence of you, because we all have this way of communicating or bringing us, the gift of us, to the world. And for me, it's interesting because I've been like owning more my creative voice after this class. It's like, even in your creation, whatever it is, painting, writing, facilitating, or even more, right? Whatever. And it's just like knowing that you have something special to offer to the world, and it's time to just let it be, let it out, and let it be, let it melt, let it show up. So
Yeah,
yeah, I highly recommend this class. Truly, it's just such a gift.
yeah. You
Yeah.
know, it's interesting. It wasn't until this class that I recognized my mom always loved sharing her voice through cooking.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess mine too.
Yeah, and so, like, I have found people who are even more extravagant and, like, their food tastes better because now they're utilizing their voice, And that incorporation of it just brings this more of an enjoyment for
Yeah.
cooking or baking or painting, or like you said, it can show up in such different ways. So, like, what is that unique way that you would like to share your voice with your world and also the world?
Yeah. Wow. Yummy. Thank you so much, Lale. It's been beautiful
Thank
and
you.
inviting as usual. And so, see you all very soon. And if you want to just sign up or join or just have more information, please connect either with Lale or me. I can contribute too. And yeah, see you very soon somewhere.
Yeah. You guys can go to globalwellnessforall.com/events, and all our events are listed there. And then you can even click the contact us, and we'll be happy to give you more information. And there are a lot of hotels nearby. So even if you guys wanted to travel to Dubai to attend, because obviously both Right Voice for You and Conscious Horse are not online, these
Yeah.
classes you have to be in person. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And
And
no
yeah,
prerequisites. I mean, anyone can come. I love that.
yes, that's also very beautiful because yeah, you can just anytime. Just choose for yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you,
thanks for
Amal.
people who's gonna watch the recording. Bye bye. See you
Bye,
soon.
guys.